The Olympics obviously is the pinnacle. You won a silver medal in 1998 in Japan. What was that like?
Winning the silver medal. First of all, it's an honor to represent your country, represent the United States, and go to the Olympics. And like I said, I was 7 years old when I dreamt of attending the Olympics and being an Olympic ice skater. You're just honored and privileged, and you work your hardest, and you hope that you represent the United States well.
I mean, you didn't win the gold, obviously. So did you feel, but I think a lot of people want to know, like, was that a feeling of defeat at all, or were you perfectly content with the silver?
Well, in 1998, I did 2 clean performances, meaning that I didn't make a mistake. I didn't fall on a jump or make a mistake in a spin. And it was frustrating because when you're a kid, you don't think of, oh, I want to win the silver. It's like, that's not part of what is happening up there. It's like you dream of being on top of the podium. But like I said, life is not perfect. And my dad said, you worked your hardest. One thing parents always say is no regrets. You tried your hardest. You didn't play around when you could have. You dedicated yourself, and you skated your heart out. So what can you do? And
then Salt Lake City, you won the bronze. You were expected to... Here's the thing we're laughing about, but it's an extraordinary accomplishment. Extraordinary. But that, I mean, in your mind, because I know you've slowed it down because of an injury, but are you going to go for it again?
Maybe. No, I had hip surgery last year. It's slowed me down a little bit, but I still have my eligibility. So if I do decide to compete, I still can.
Is it something that you sort of kind of a burning desire to go for the gold?
When I was 17, I thought that it was life or death. That winning was everything, and that was it. It was kind of like, if I don't win, what's going to happen to me? Like, am I going to be not happy for the rest of my life? It's everything in life. And I realized that it isn't. It's not the moment. It's not the medal. It's about the journey to the destination.
And how did you get there? How did you get to the point where you went from being so intensely competitive to actually being able to enjoy the journey?
Well, I have always been the competitor that I focus on myself. I never compete against somebody. I always say, what can I do to improve myself? And I'm very happy that I am that kind of competitor, because when you analyze somebody else's work, you can't change what they do. Like skaters, for example, backstage, sometimes some skaters watch other skaters before they compete. And I stick with my routine. This is what I'm going to do, regardless of what happens before me. I know that some skaters, they landed a triple, so I've got to add a triple. But it just changes your mindset. I just stick with my routine, and this is what I'm going to do.
Will you be going to the Olympics this summer?
I hope so. Yeah. I was just in Beijing 2 weeks ago, and I could see all the excitement that is building, and people are excited. I know that the American athletes are really excited, so it's going to be an amazing event. I was actually at the Shanghai Special Olympics ceremonies, the opening ceremonies, and wow, amazing.
Quincy Jones was talking about how music and entertainment is kind of an incredible cultural bridge, but sport certainly is, and you have become such an ambassador between the U.S., China, and so much of the world. What's that like to represent this country and have an Asian face?
Mr. Jones, that speech was amazing. I applaud you for it. When you were talking about music being the bridge and the common bond that unites the whole world, I feel very lucky as an athlete that sports diplomacy can play the same role, that people all over the world, not just in China, can cheer for Yao Ming, people all over the world, not just Canada, can cheer for Wayne Gretzky. And the list goes on of all the athletes. It's a common ground where people can understand one another and have the same tolerance and respect. It doesn't matter what playing field or whether they hit the grass for the court or the field, or in my case, skating. It's just we applaud these athletes as great sportsmen.
But do you think your experience has been different, though, as an American with an Asian face?
I mean, U.S., America is a melting pot of many countries. My parents immigrated to the United States in the early 20s, and I feel very fortunate that I have been brought up Chinese American. And you know, I'm very proud of my Chinese heritage as well as being very proud American. And so I have a unique story. You know, my story is unique because my parents are from another country. And so the world is getting smaller. You know, like Mr. Jones said, you have to work together. And one of my missions as an American public diplomacy envoy is to encourage students and young people all around the world. Like when I spoke to Russia, I'm like, you are the future leaders of Russia. And it's important that you reach out and you get to know your global neighbors, because you'll be working with them and the world will be a peaceful place and a better place because of it.
Have you enjoyed your role as American public diplomacy envoy?
I have. I've traveled to Russia, China, Argentina, and I'm not there to talk to them, but talk with them. And we have this open dialogue. You know, they ask me questions and I ask them questions, because it's a learning experience for me as well. Because I've never been to Argentina. I've never really understood the culture and the different traditions and beliefs. You know, I had this little book that I read right before I went to Argentina, and you know, you don't get the same experience unless you go there and you actually meet people there living in that country. And I also tell the students and young people in Argentina and Russia and China to come to the United States. That's the best way to understand Americans.
I love this sort of theme of diplomacy that we've been sort of experiencing over the last couple of hours. Tell us about the little meal that you shared with those well-known guys, President Bush and President Hu Jintao. You've heard of them, right? Tell us about that experience.
I went to the White House when President Hu Jintao came into town, and it was amazing because there was a receiving line to shake their hand, and I didn't know what to say. President Hu Jintao actually asked me, "How is your hip feeling?" in Mandarin. I was like, "You watch figure skating?" But he said, "Oh, I watch figure skating in China."